and we can start at the bottom. That's fine. I'm happy to start at the bottom. I like starting at the bottom
Right.
because you see so many victories along the way. But this idea that like, well, and this is, I mean, this is a really good, I have two things to say, I guess. Like, one, if people saw every one of my workouts, they would be bored to death because I'm just not trying to die at every workout. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm trying to go in and I'm trying to make sure that I feel the movements where I should feel them. And I'm trying to, engage what needs to be engaged. And like my biggest game is recovery. Like that's my biggest flex. It's not my workouts.
You are listening to the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast with your host, Eric Logan. No Gimmicks, Just Sweat is dedicated to hearing the journeys and unique stories behind an athlete's training and what drives them. Get inspired to own your life and make the impossible possible. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Also, please take a few seconds to rate the show and drop me a review. Now, let's get started with the show.
All right, welcome to another episode of No Gimmicks, Just Sweat, where today we bring back a very recent guest from episode 61, Mandy Camara. Mandy, how are you doing and welcome back?
I'm good. I'm good. You're catching me I'm in the middle of my day Saturday. So I'm like, how do I feel? Let's check in with ourselves real quick. I think I'm good. I'm good. I just ate, so I'm not too hungry. I got enough sleep, so I'm not like particularly fatigued today. So yeah, thanks for having me back. I said that weird.
No,
But it doesn't matter. I'm like, "Thanks for having me." Pause, back. Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like, last year it was, like, such a nice conversation and so, like, genuine and authentic, and so
yes.
I'm really, really grateful to be back.
And I'm grateful for you to come back. And again, grateful for you coming on and sharing your story. And I will tell all listeners, if you haven't listened to episode 61, when Mandy first came on, I strongly suggest that you pause here and go listen to that, then come back and listen to this episode. Um, in this way, because you'll get probably the full picture of how wonderful and great this Mandy is.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much. Like, somebody bring me my flowers. No, and a Bentley. Um,
Yes.
just kidding. Just
Give
kidding. I
people
don't.
their flowers, when they're here, not
Yeah.
after.
Yes, please. Oh my God, please.
And Mandy, the reason I'm bringing you back on because since we last talked, a lot has changed, in your life, especially in regards to fitness and training. And I just kind of want to talk about that and just kind of have an update, of where you are and where you're going with things.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll answer this question also. A lot of people have been asking, like, do you still run or are you still competitive with that? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I still run and it's still my first love. I just don't post about it as much because it is very hard to post your runs while you're running.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I still plan to be competitive. I would love to do some races this year. I have never been able to get it out of my head about like 100 or a 200-meter race. So I'm thinking maybe this will be the year that I start to really either prep for that or prep and then go do it. By prep I mean train. I don't mean prep like bodybuilding.
Right.
So, but then I also, I still have a lot of running goals that I haven't achieved yet. So that's still a big focus for me. And I'm still training according to that. And then, yeah, then I guess, and last year I got my personal trainer certification through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. And then I started working with people right away. And I mean, it's really been a game changer because, we had talked a little bit about how I got it in my head that I don't want to do things that I don't care about. And so I wanted to create a life and an environment for myself where I don't. And so it's been really, really, really amazing. Like I'm just so grateful for the people that have put their trust in me, because it's impactful for me too, because when I get to work with somebody and I get to watch them and be in their struggle with them and see them kind of transform from, the self-deprecation to, I can't believe I just did that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, to, feelings of I can't, to actually doing, and then, kind of graduating from training, and now they've got a set of habits that they've built. Like it's a pretty beautiful thing, and I really cherish the opportunity to get to be part of it, because I mean, like, what else would I do with my life, if it's not trying to create and give into the world? Like, what is the point? So it's been good. It's been good. And I have some exciting things coming up too, that like I'm gonna be able to help more, and on a deeper level. So yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. I've had a lot going on, but yes, I'm definitely still running.
Well, I mean, do you have any races or anything that you plan to kind of try this year in 2024?
That's an interesting question, I think, because try. I don't really think that I will ever try anything, if that makes sense. I always am like, I'm just gonna, like, once I set my eyes on something, like, once I have locked my gaze on something, if I want it, I will, I will have it. Like it's not
Right.
like a. So there aren't a lot of distances that really excite me unless they're just very extreme.
Okay.
So I'm trying to I'm trying to temper that with wisdom. Like maybe I'm not interested in running 250 miles this year because of the training that would go into it, but like maybe it's a 5-year goal. So anyway, I guess the short answer to your question is there are some races that I'm kind of eyeballing, but I have not paid the money to run them yet.
Okay. You're gonna approach it like, you know what? I'm gonna run this race tomorrow. I'm gonna jump in.
Maybe, if that's like if I see a race that I really, really want to do and it's next month, then I'll go do it. But I've gotten to a point in training, and I guess in the sport of running, where I just don't feel like I have anything to prove to anybody. And so for me to go and do it, I have to really get excited. And that's been hard for me to find things that really excite me.
Right. Right.
Like, because you do it so much. And like, we race and we race and we train and we train and we train. So I need to get excited about something, and then I get kind of crazy about it. So I'm like, I'm trying to be careful what I get excited about.
And I can understand and relate to that because I noticed with me this year, I've kind of made the decision to kind of pull back from being as serious about racing and competing and doing
Hmm.
some things I've had on the wish list that I wanted to do for years, but it
Yeah.
always conflicted with a race.
Yes.
you know, I want to do this, but it's the same weekend as a race. So
Yes.
I'm doing a lot more, cycling events this year. That way it's kind of taking that pressure off training as
Yeah.
well as that pressure off of competing.
Yeah.
As race, it's more like, I want to do this just to have fun, just to enjoy it, just to say I
Yeah.
did something new and different.
Yeah. I love that you're saying that right now, because that's something I feel like I have to do really, like, very on purpose, like with a lot of intent and forethought, is to make sure that I have something that I'm doing because I like to, that
Right.
is maybe not related to any area of my life where I feel any sense of pressure to perform, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like, I need to be doing things that just kind of fill my cup up and pour back into myself. And I mean, I feel like I talk about this all the time, but it's a self-love thing. And it has nothing to do with like manicures or fake eyelashes, which there's nothing wrong with those things. And I'm not calling anybody out. Um, I'm just saying, like, there are things that I need to do that are just for me because I like them. Um, so I think maybe that also might be kind of, like you're saying, like the stance on running and competing is like, I don't have to compete every time I run, you
Right.
know, and my other parts of me don't need to be sacrificed for the sport.
Exactly. Exactly. I know like with me, I've never really done a 100-mile bike ride. So that's one thing.
Oh,
That's something I want to try to do this year. I've never done a
yeah.
full century ride. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do one this year.
Yeah, I want to know. You have to keep me posted. I want to know directly from you how it goes and like what the training is like because I'm not a cyclist.
Right.
Like I don't think that I have ever done cycling as part of training even. Like I think there were times I could have opted for cycling or the elliptical and I was like, I'm not getting on a bike. um so you'll have to let me know because I am really curious how it works and what the training is like and how long does it take to bike 100 miles? You know what I mean? Will you do it on the road or on a trail?
Yes. It'll be on the road. It'll be on the road.
Okay. Okay, so faster probably.
Yes.
That's about how
And,
much
and,
I
and
know about biking is like you probably will have the smaller tires and a lighter bike and you'll go faster and probably not have as much risk of injury.
oh yeah, it's just when you think 100 miles, or even I think the longest I've ever ridden has been like 68, 70 miles. And I always kind of equated with, okay, going from this city to this city or this town to this town is X amount of miles. So that's just like riding from here to here.
Yep, yeah, 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 yeah. That's how
That's
I
the
do it
back.
with running.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's how I felt about it when I was like, I'm gonna run 100 miles. And then I went out and did it. One of the things that I would tell myself in my head is like, well, it's really not different from just going from like here to, I don't know, another city that like a big city that's 100 miles away. I would tell myself that. And it's like, that would only take you this much time in a car. You're just running it, so you'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like it
Right.
was just the stupidest thing because that doesn't even make sense. Like that's a dumb way to try to talk yourself into something. It's like you're just gonna do it on your feet. But
Right.
to me, biking 100 miles just sounds so much more difficult than just running it.
Oh yeah. But the thing about it, the thing that I love most about cycling is that you can just get away. I'm one of the people when I even though I run with headphones on, I
Hmm.
cycle with no headphones.
Really, I guess
Yeah,
that makes sense though.
yeah, because I kind of like hearing cars. It's a
Hmm.
big difference. It's a big difference between running with and without headphones and cycling.
Yeah,
So and just getting out and cycling a long ride on a long highway with no traffic or a road with no traffic and stuff, you really can do a lot of thinking and kind of get lost in your thoughts.
yeah, that does sound nice.
All
Maybe
right.
I'll
uh,
get like one of those electric bikes.
oh, that's cheating. That's
I
cheating.
was just like, that's just so much more work on my legs. Do they really need all that?
That's cheating.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So enough about what I'm gonna be doing. Let's talk about you a little bit more. Cause that was the purpose of this show. So we
And I
can
know I just totally like bounced it back into your court. Like no one's gonna notice.
but that means we're having a great conversation.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay, let's talk about you.
So since we last talked, you've become a certified trainer.
Yeah, yep.
So what led you down that path? A lot, and the reason why I say that, a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people who become, good trainers. They are people who, not necessarily, the ones who are, that go out like, yes, I'm going to be a trainer. That's what I'm going to do.
Hmm.
Kind of like your, and again, not to, this or criticizing what not like the flashy celebrity trainers you see, for lack of a better
Right.
term.
Hmm.
You're an everyday person. You're the type of person that you would see in the grocery store, like, hey Mandy, how you doing? Hey Eric, how you doing? That type of person. and you
Mhm.
decide to want to be a trainer, to give your time to help people, you know, become physically fit, improve their health, and so forth. So, what made you kind of go into that direction?
Well, it was just I I don't know. I just feel like I need to be pouring into the world because that is what keeps me the most full. And so, of course, it starts first at home with my kids. Like whatever I do, they get the first fruit of that. Um, and I mean, they're learning, and it's fun to watch them learn different things. And the questions that they ask are really cute too. Like, different goals that they have for wherever they're at. Like, how do I get there? But so that's precious, and I love that. But for my life, I really think a lot about how I invest my time and money and my energy and my heart. And I'm not quick to put anything out there. Um, so I wanted to spend the long term, because I think about things like in the long term. I'm very good at like delayed gratification. I don't think about things that I want right now because that's not really the important thing. The important thing is how I want my life to look when I am dead. You know what I mean? Like, what legacy am I
Right,
leaving behind? And so I wanted to create and build something that is impactful for generations. And so I know like everybody feels like personal training is just like fitness and losing weight and getting 42-inch biceps and all of that. But for me,
right,
it's so much deeper because I wanted to relate my experience, the experiences that I've had, which a lot, I mean, we've talked about and a lot we haven't talked about, but I want to kind of relay this message that you are so much more capable than you can fucking imagine. Like, and how you
yeah,
feel today is not indicative of how you can feel tomorrow or 6 months from now or in 5 years, but it's entirely dependent on the decisions that you make today. And I wanted a better way to relay that message, and so I chose training because what better way to teach somebody that they can do hard things, you know what I mean,
right,
than to like bring them into this space and first show them that this is a safe space. Like, you're with me, and when you're with me, you are going to be safe and you will be heard and you will be respected. And then we're going to do everything that is tailored to what you're telling me you need and want. And I will make observations and you will give me feedback and then we'll adjust, Um, but the whole point of it is to build people up and to teach
mhm,
them, that like your presence on this planet actually does matter. And I think that sometimes, well, I think actually 100% of the time, how we feel is a result of what we do. And I feel like people aren't going to get that on the first line. So I'm just going to say it again. How we feel
right,
is a result of what we do and the choices that we make. So sometimes, like, I will get a call from somebody and they're like, they don't see the point of doing anything because they feel like they're so far gone and they feel like they're kind of the exception. Like, this isn't for people like me, which is absolute bullshit.
right,
And that's kind of my jam, is to get in, and start pulling the good out of them and holding up the mirror so that they can see it. Like, that's my real passion. It really doesn't have as much to do with fitness as much as it does like how the changes that you make impact your family and then your children, your grandchildren, the people in your sphere of influence. Like, I'm not trying to just like get somebody fit. You know what I mean? Like, there's a
yes,
lot that goes into it. So, I mean, I'm very, very passionate about it. And so, but I mean, the first thing I thought of that made me think personal training was I don't want to do anything I don't care about. And so I've been just building and building and building this business so that I don't really do very many things that I don't care about.
right,
It was hard though. I mean, it's a lot of work. It took a lot. Like, it's been hard. It still is a lot of work because I'm still studying, I'm still learning. I'm still, and then when somebody comes in, if they have a special issue that you don't know anything about, guess what you have to do? You have to then go become an expert in that issue and you have to have like a realm of other professionals that you can talk to kind of get feedback and help to really be able to positively impact this person. So, I mean, it is a lot, and it's an emotionally heavy job too. I think people don't realize that. Um, so yeah, we're not in here just getting six packs. We're like, we're trying to get at this real transformation and build a life.
Right. And I like what you kind of said is that, it's more than just getting fit, because I think a lot of times people miss out the point of, the fitness and, getting working out and improving your health. And they think it's solely about, just, okay, yeah, I want to lose weight, or yeah, I want to get a six pack, or yeah, I want to get big arms. But they don't realize is that it shows people that you can do so much more than you think you can do. And that improves, not just your physical fitness, but, as you mentioned, relationships with people around you, and people you interact with, your friends, your family, your coworkers. It improves your mood, it improves, your outlook on life.
Yeah, and there's so much that goes into that. One of the things that you just said really struck a chord, where like it's not really just fitness. I mean, I will say fitness is not a substitute for therapy.
Yes.
Fitness can do things that therapy cannot do, and therapy can do things that fitness cannot do. But I feel like you're absolutely right that like this is not just fitness. And then I think sometimes, fitness can really show us like when we're in the gym and we're working out and like we're like people, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is people hate themselves so bad, and it just boggles the mind because I feel like, when I see somebody, I'm looking at how much effort they're putting in because, it's better to measure by effort than with like technology, right? Because that's how you learn how to listen to your body, which you know that. Um, and I'm just looking at how hard they're working. And to me, that's like the most beautiful thing. And I think it's so like, I mean, for both men and women, like humans in general, I think the most attractive thing is like somebody that's just really putting in a lot of effort. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely not just about fitness. It's about what happens when you start putting feet to what you say you want. Like I get people, I won't quote anybody directly, but people, they do say things like, I'm so fat and I'm so far gone. And do you think this is possible for me? That's a big question that I get a lot. And I'm always amazed because I'm like, because they'll say, on one hand, they'll say, this is all that I want. These are my goals, but I'm so far gone. But I weigh this much right now, but I now have these health problems. And I'm like, why do you think that you are not powerful enough to say, I'm going to do this to change it? You know what I mean? Like, and then there's another component where, we're so conditioned to hate ourselves so that we depend more on the powers that be.
Right.
Like you get sick and then you got to go get these meds and then you get depressed and then, there's the pill for that. There's an app for that. There's an app for that even. But there's just so much that goes into it. Like we think that we don't deserve to have the best version of ourselves. And so I think the first thing that I think is really, really, really important with clients and new people too is to put the power back in their hands. Like, why do you think that you don't deserve this, but everybody else does? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not just for everybody else; it's for you, because you're in control of the decisions that you make today. Like, you are powerful enough to change your own life. And I feel like, I think people just people need to get that. Like people need someone to say that to them, even though it's hard to hear.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. And the thing about that is that, sometimes people, need to hear that, and they need to hear that from someone that, sincerely means it, and not just the typical um, you know, the okay, I need to say this because it's the nice thing to say. It's because, hey, I'm saying this because I truly mean this from my heart. I care for you.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think it's a hard truth, and people have a hard time hearing it. One, like, I make people cry a lot when I tell them things like that, like, this is for you and you deserve this. And they're like, what? Um, you don't say. Um, but it also adds like some level of accountability too. When we start saying, when you show me like on your assessment or in your consultation, and we're sitting there and we get really real, and you're saying this is what I want, but then like your lifestyle choices don't add up to that at all. And then we start digging into like, why do you feel like you don't deserve this? Like people don't want to hear that, because then it adds a level of accountability. Like there's an answer to that question, and usually the answer to that question is really, really hard for people to say. And a lot of the answers really make me sad to hear, but then like, I don't know. I mean, it's tough. But we have to have those conversations, because that's like your next step forward, is to admit, this is what I want to change. This is what is really at the root of the issue for me, or one or two things. And then this is what we're going to do about it.
Okay. So with you as a trainer, are you just a just training in general, or do you specialize in anything? Do you specialize, are you saying, hey, I only train women, or I train everybody, only train people of a certain age, what is your scope that you do?
Yeah, that's an interesting, because everybody is like, you have to choose a niche.
Right.
You have to
Exactly.
choose like a group of people. And I'm like, well, I really get everybody though. I'm still getting everybody. Like I have men, I have women, I have children. Um, and then I have some couples that are like, let's do this together.
Nice,
But
nice.
it's the main thing, like the thing that is consistent across the board, is that I am getting people that are kind of becoming aware that like my life can mean more than I think it does right now. I think that I am done with how I'm living and I want to make a change, but I want to make a big change. Like I'm getting a lot of people that the people I get, I'm not going to say I'm getting a lot of people that I will say the consistent thing across the board with all of the people that I get is that they all have somehow gotten to this point in life where they're like, there's more to my life than how it is. So they like, everybody wants something that they're not getting, but it's like on a deep level. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's not just fitness. People they want to live, but
Yes.
like it's like an emotional and mental health thing along with their physical health. It's very interesting to watch, because those things change so fast. Like somebody will come in at, their lowest, and then in like 5 sessions they're glowing. You know what I mean? Like it's interesting, but it's like it's not a physical niche I think that I have. I think it's like this people group that thinks a certain way. Like I want to go for it like all the way. I want to go in 100%. Like those are the kind of people that I get. Like I like my 100% people though, because they go all in.
All right. So let me ask you this. You've been training for, I think it's close to a year now. So is there anything that you started out doing that you look back at and it's like, ugh, I should have been doing this?
Probably. Yeah. I think that some of the questions that I was asking at the beginning, I have really changed the way that they're asked now based on just experience and learning.
Okay.
And then what's something I wish I hadn't done? I mean, I'm sure there are lots of stupid things I did. Like I'm trying to think of something specific. Well, okay. One thing I really struggled with at the very beginning, like with one person in particular, like I'm thinking of this person right now, and I'm just like, oh my God. I was not assertive enough with them
Okay.
from the start, and so it was like, I don't know, it made it really, really challenging, because you know, like you come to me and you tell me these are your goals, and then I do everything based on those goals. But then I don't know, I just don't think I was assertive enough. And then I think I didn't set clear boundaries with this person either. And so that made it even more challenging because there were times where I would feel like, wait, what is happening right now? You know what I like? Just
Exactly.
to add a little bit of confusion. It was just like, I don't know, I wasn't assertive enough and I wasn't like as commanding, I guess. Like I think people generally respect me, but I feel like in this particular case, this person did not respect my time at all, and I should have called them out on that because my time is very, very valuable. It's my number one asset.
Right.
Like if I'm giving you my time, that means you mean something to me. Especially if I'm giving it to you for free. But this person, I didn't set that boundary clear enough, and I wish I had done that differently, and the outcome might have been different.
Okay. So let's fast forward. Let's say let's go. You know, you're progressing, you're growing. Where do you see yourself a year from now, 2 years from now? You know, as far as training, where do you want to be? Where do you want to go?
In 2 years,
Yes, or even
I'm
just
like, I'm
yeah.
almost afraid to say it on a podcast because I don't know who all's listening. But in 2 years, I feel like life will look a lot differently for my kids and me. Like it will be a very different looking life. Just because, you know, like I've said, I'm very careful about how I spend time and energy and money. And so I think like the kids are going to get the first fruit of that no matter what, hands down, like no questions asked. Like they're my children. And then
Right.
hopefully just like bigger impact on a higher level, I guess, if that makes sense.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask something that's kind of funny.
Okay,
Do,
I'm
do,
ready.
do, do, do you use your kids as kind of like guinea pigs for stuff before you take them to before you present that to a client?
Oh my gosh, no, they would not have it. They would not put up with it. I have to use myself as a guinea pig.
Okay.
So sometimes sometimes it's so terrible, like because sometimes I'll write a workout that I think is going to be really, really good. And it, well, you know, like when I wrote the 8 week program, which by the way, you can buy from me directly. It's still on sale. It's 8 weeks that touches on nutrition, goal setting, behavior, mindset. Like you're getting a book. It's 56 pages. It's all digital. Anyway, that's my shameless plug for that. But to,
Do your plug. Do your plug. That is
it's a
what this is.
beautiful
Plug yourself.
program. It's gym based. It's for men and women. What makes this program different is that you get me for the whole entire week. So that's what makes it so valuable is that you can go online and you can buy your little fitness app or your little 8 week program and you can join a Facebook community. But with this program, when you buy it, you get me specifically in your corner for that whole 8 weeks. Like you don't have to go on Facebook and ask questions of other community members that are not certified anything that didn't write the program.
Right.
You get me.
Right.
And that comes with everything, you know, like memes and jokes and but also like if you need help, you know, like I have one woman that she bought the program and she had some questions and so, you know, there's been a lot of like video demonstration back and forth and then since she's local, like I've met her at the gym to walk through some things with her. It can be modified for your experience level. It can be modified at home, for at home. But anyway, to answer your question, have I had to use my kids? No, they would not let me do that. They are way too cool for me to use them in any way, shape, or form. They're like they're busy and they don't want to hang out with me that much.
Oh.
Except my son, he might, but he would be like, I'm doing something right now. And I think my daughter would be like, can we do it later? And then we would never do it. So it's just not, they are just never going to let me do that. But so to write the 8 week program, I actually had to do all the workouts myself. And
Okay.
that shit, I was like, this is hard. Like, I am really like, should I have written it this way, and so then I had to go back and rewrite some things or say like, if you want to modify it, this is how you would modify it, or if you're not at this level, then this is how you change the reps and sets. And so I have to be the guinea pig, and it sucks sometimes.
Right. Yeah, and I bet it does because I know when I've taught classes, I go through everything myself so that
Yeah,
I can say like, yes, I did this too, or I did this exercise, or I did this, session, 1
yeah.
hour before I'm teaching it to you. So
Yes. Yeah, that's a big one too. Like,
yeah,
I don't think people that are clients of A Trainer Anywhere, I don't think that they know like what actually goes into writing a program or writing a whole workout or deciding what cues to will work best with this kind of movement, or even just like, hey, I had to run 10 miles before all of my sessions today. You know what I mean?
yeah,
They just don't know. But you seem to know. You get it.
yeah. And and also thinking about, okay, this is how we can do it, but I also have to keep in mind, okay, what are modifications I need to present in case somebody, can't do anything, do a certain thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's really important because I think the last thing that we want is to get somebody to come in. They have to overcome that hurdle to just show up and then try to get them to do something and then they can't do it. So they just feel worse than when they came in. Like, you cannot do that to people, you
Right.
know?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you
Right. And I
cannot
mean,
just
and
like be like, we're going hard all the time when like, they've got years of inactivity. Like, they can't just come in and do whatever you're doing.
yes, that is one of the most annoying things I see when I go to the gym. When I see people training other people, and it's not to
Mhm.
say whether or not they are a, you know, certified trainer or not, but then I watch and I just go, oh, that person's going to either get hurt
Yep.
or going to get so discouraged
Yeah.
what they're trying to do that you've lost them. They're never going to come set foot in the gym ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. They're intimidated when they get there. Then, like, first of all, they have to reach out. That's like the hardest thing. Reach out, say they need help or they want help. And then, you have to build trust with them. So they're overcoming that hurdle because they look at you and they think, like, I'm never going to look like her. And that's not really the thing. And then you have to go through that and explain that, like, your goals and my goals are not the same. Like,
Right,
I'm actually here for you. That's why you're not gonna see me like doing my workout at the same time that you're doing yours, you know what I mean? But
right,
that's a huge thing I actually see a lot is people come in and they expect it to be like I'm so hardcore and crazy. And I'm like, no, 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 no. My goal is to challenge you, not exhaust you. And then people are very, very surprised when I say, if you are this sore after every workout, then it's too much. Like, you should not be sore after every workout. It means you've done too much. You've traumatized your muscles. They're going to take longer to recover. You know what I mean? People
right,
don't know that about this journey. They think that if you're not sore after every workout, then you've done it wrong. When like, that's not really it. You know what I mean? Like, the goal is your long-term health and well-being, not for you to see how far you can push yourself until you die, you know?
right. And but unfortunately, with social media, that seems to be what people think. Not just social media, but just TV and just YouTube images and other images as well. Is that okay? You got to push, you got to push, you got to push in order to get. If I want to be built like the Rock, I got to do this.
Right. Yeah. And
And
when
then
people, yeah.
I was gonna say, and what I tell people, I was like, you are not the Rock.
Hmm.
His journey was different. Is different from yours. He's been lifting, he's been active since he was young.
Yeah.
So that's why, right? If you're just starting, yeah. If you want to build like the Rock when you were in your 20s, if you want to build like the Rock when you were in your 30s or your 40s, you're not going to be that overnight.
Right.
You
You got a ways to go. And we can start at the bottom. That's fine. I'm happy to start at the bottom. I like starting at the bottom
right,
because you see so many victories along the way. But this idea that, like, Well, and I mean, this is a really good, I have two things to say, I guess. Like, one, if people saw every one of my workouts, they would be bored to death because I'm just not trying to die at every workout. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm trying to go in and I'm trying to make sure that I feel the movements where I should feel them. And I'm trying to, engage what needs to be engaged. And like my biggest game is recovery. Like that's my biggest flex. It's not my workouts. Like, and
Right.
people don't want to hear that. Like people don't want to hear a lot of the truth. Like that's not what's sexy at all. What's sexy is like working your ass off and sweating, and that's good if you are at that level. Like I do the sexy stuff too, but my real flex is how I recover because
And we're back again. Technical difficulties. You gotta love technology.
that's so
Technology is a
funny.
beautiful thing, isn't it?
That's so wonderful. It's my favorite. We can blame it on the whiteout that everybody in the northern states is having.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Just say it was a whiteout. Nobody knows where we live.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Exactly.
like the most beautiful day outside today here. It's like it was the whiteout.
So
Um,
so when we last talked, we were talking about recovery, and that's the real flex is the recovery piece. So I
yeah.
gotta let you kind of finish from that point.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, I mean, the sexy stuff, like the working hard and pouring sweat, and just like the thing is, I'm not dying when I do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Right.
not pushing myself to my breaking point. Like, that's not the point. The point is I have XYZ goals and they're not the same as everybody else's. And so it doesn't look the same as everybody. And then I was saying, like, everybody would be so bored if they saw all of my workouts, because it's just not that interesting. Because what you repeat and like what you repeat and track is what grows. And so you would see me doing a lot of the same shit all the time and be like,
Right.
wow. But yeah, I was saying that recovery is what's really sexy because we know, well, not everybody knows this and people don't want to hear this because it's true, but your gains happen at rest.
Yes. Yes.
Like you are not gaining, like your muscles are not growing while you are doing the preacher curl. Your muscles are growing and healing and getting bigger during periods of rest, like when you're sleeping or when you're, doing all of your recovery stuff and using all the tools that you have to get that job done. Like that's when you get gains.
Yes.
Like, so that's the real flex for me. Like I've gotten really, really, really good at recovery because I got sick of being injured. Like if you get in enough pain, you will change your behavior.
Oh, yeah. Or if you get injured, I know
Yeah, or yeah,
have my experience of being injured, trying to go into
yeah, you
the
get
gym real hard.
yeah, get injured enough times and see if you still think that recovery is not that important.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
nutrition, oh my God, or hydration.
Oh yeah, nutrition, hydration. That's another whole thing. That's
Hmm.
another hour conversation.
Yeah, I feel like I could soapbox that all day long.
Yeah.
Like nobody's doing it right. But there's not just one right way. That's a different podcast.
Yes, that is so important. And I remind people is that you're you, and you have to find what works for you. Just because this person might be doing deadlifts might not be for you at this point.
Yeah. Man, you could
I'm
need
a
something
runner.
totally different.
I'm a runner. But running might not be for you at
Yep.
this point. So you have to find what works for you in your journey as well as what you enjoy doing,
Hmm.
because that makes a huge difference. And how into you know becoming better physically, you know, will go with you. Because if you enjoy what you're doing and you're doing something that you're comfortable doing, it makes the most of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Man, people they're like, "Oh, let's do it again today and add 40 pounds of weight." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, Like you have people, like I have had it happen a couple of times where people will come in and like they want to do the workout that they want to do and not what's written. And I'm like, that just doesn't even make sense. But like, I mean, it's happened where I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't like, there are sometimes when it's safe to go off script and just kind of follow their lead, but a lot of the times when people do that, it's just that they are lacking education in
Yeah,
how, the science works. And I mean, it's all science. It's anatomy and biology and physiology. Like it's not something I made up because I felt like that was a good idea that day. It's that I educated myself and I study the science of it still, you know. Like I'm still studying, I'm still learning. And it's
yeah,
like that's the one thing I'll say about this whole field is that like you're never exempt from that. You're never done learning. And if you are not teachable, then you will fail. You know,
that is so true.
it's a metaphor for life.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people think it's very, finite that, you just kind of like, okay, yep, I know how this works. I know how that works. Okay, I don't have to learn anything else. I don't have to stay, you know, I don't have to add this particular knowledge to this because when
Hmm.
you start looking at, okay, training, okay, you need to build strength, you need to build mobility, but you also need to know about nutrition,
Hmm.
you know, because that helps, the right nutrition helps you with your strength. It
And
helps
your
you
recovery. Yeah.
those types of things. A lot of things connect, and it's good to kind of know, what connects, and the latest, not just necessarily trends, because trends come and go, but like you mentioned a few moments ago, the science behind it. You know,
Yeah.
what new has come out that science related that can improve things.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell people a lot, and I know it's like kind of tooting my own horn, but I do say like you definitely want somebody that's still educating themselves, that like knows where to look to find the information at least. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you want somebody that like cares about getting it right for your body and your goals. And a
Yep.
lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, I just want my 40 bucks, you know, which I mean, that's the other thing I feel like is like a huge thing is like nobody, like, not nobody. I think sometimes people struggle with the investment,
Okay. Yep.
but then I feel like diabetes is a lot more expensive than training. You
Oh,
know?
yeah. Yeah, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, medication, regular doctor visits, a lot of that is much, much more expensive than, a gym membership or
Yep.
paying a trainer. Uh,
Yep.
what's the saying, you either pay for it now or you pay for it later?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah. I mean, it's crazy to me because it's hard for people to put it into perspective that way that like because when you're young and you feel mostly good, you don't ever think that anything could happen to you until something does. And then you're doing all of this damage control retroactively, and that shit is hard because now you're worried about like if you're gonna, like how long are you gonna live,
Right.
when if you just start while you're younger, like you're going to be so much better prepared for just about anything life throws at you.
Yep. That is so true. All right, before I let you go, is there anything else you kind of like any last words you want to leave for our listeners, or anything else you want to kind of plug?
This would be a great opportunity to just start ranting. Like, I hate when you guys do this. I hate when you don't re-rack your weights. I hate when you come in with a bad attitude. No, I'm joking. I guess, like, the big thing with me, like, my whole vibe, I guess, is that, like, I just want you to fucking believe that you can do things. Like, this is not too hard for you. You're not the exception to the rule of just hard work and consistency. Like, It's not like you're not, it's just so funny because I feel like we all think that the world revolves around us, that we're the exception to a lot of things, right? Like
Right.
you're the exception to like bad decisions, and then like you're the exception to like fitness, where like it will work for everybody else, but not you,
Right.
which is just so asinine. Like that makes no sense. So I guess that's my that's my message to the world today, is that like it does work. It can work if you show up, if you're consistent, and then whether you believe it will work or don't believe it will work, just show up. Just show up for 6 months and see what happens. It's worth it.
Oh yeah. I mean, basically, what do you have to lose?
Right. Like you're not going to lose anything. Even if you decide that like you were consistent for 6 months and you still hate yourself, well, at least you look good and you're going to live longer, you know? That was like a terrible joke. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe people will laugh.
well, that just means you're tough love.
Yeah, I'm very tough. Yeah, very. But I'm also like I really do lead with empathy and compassion in training, and I think that you know, I think that's the most important thing, because people go through so many things, and you have to be able to try to be in it with them, and kind of, I'm not saying that I take on other people's problems, but empathy and compassion are like, that's what people need. They need to feel heard and they need to feel seen. And that's kind of where I shine,
Right.
so I'm not really like that mean. Like, if you just hate yourself, like, I'm not really like that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, and I've seen this recently, that when people are telling you something that might be hard to digest,
hmm
sometimes they're telling you that out of love,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they want they
absolutely.
want to see better of you. They know you can be better.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it, I mean, there have been times when I've had to be very tough with people because I feel like they want permission to quit on themselves, because they don't, because if they have permission, then it's not really their fault that they quit on themselves, and I'm just not going to give that to anybody. Like I don't feel sorry for anybody, you know so like I don't do that. Like I'm not going to validate your reasons for wanting to give up. Like why would I do that?
Right. Right. You're giving them their money's worth.
Yeah, that's yeah, I need to raise my rates.
Well, Mandy, I appreciate you coming back onto the show.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's been a good chat. We always have a pretty good time. There's always some laughing for sure.
Oh yeah, laughter's good. It's good for the soul, good for the heart.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't cry today, so it's a win.
Oh yeah.
That made me sound so emo. Oh, I made it through a day without crying. That's not what I meant.
All right, Mandy. Well, I'm gonna let you get on with your day because I know you're a very busy person. So
Yeah,
again,
I'll
thank
talk to you
you.
soon.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast. We really appreciate everyone who tunes in each week. If you enjoyed today's show, please support us by subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember to tell your friends about the No Gimmicks, Just Sweat podcast, so we can continue to have awesome conversations with everyday athletes just like you. Until next time, have an amazing week.